Your voice is calling me, but it seems so far away. Every word you ever said, every feeling that you gave. Why did you let go? 'Cause I know that this is hard, but it makes me feel so down. Can we turn it all around? Pulling me to the ground, tears streaming down my face. My chest hurts, I can't escape. There's no going back now. Will you miss me when I'm gone? Will you think of me when you're all alone?
cow looking like it was using tall wooden legs. It appeared from time to time to say, like, yeah, I know you can do it. You have my trust. When I was little, I had a tree outside my bedroom window, and the moonlight spread its shadow across my ceiling. Sometimes when I woke up in my groggy state, it looked like spider webs. Probably. It's hard to tell. But that doesn't mean that you should stop dreaming. The feeling I get from this is waking up in the middle of the night from a nightmare that you thought was real but really isn't. These dreams are weird. You pick up your phone and no one is there. And for a while I was really scared of them. Like, it's definitely something that doesn't happen every day, but once I knew what was going on and why it was happening, it made a lot more sense, and I became okay with it.
Okay, it's better. Hey everybody. Yeah, I was fiddling with something and managed to kill the complete audio, everything. So hopefully everything is working. It should be working. Everything should be okay. Hi everybody. Sorry, you'll have to look at my eye today. I managed to prove why you should wear goggles when you work in the garden. Managed to get a stick in the eye directly. So yeah, you'll have a pleasant look of my eye. Maybe I'll get sunglasses to cover myself or something. So hi everybody, it's November. So the beard is growing, it's not shrinking this month. Today goal of the stream is to go through this big beast. I apologize, the only spool that has more than 50% on it was this black ABS spool, and that's 2.5 kilos, something like that. So unfortunately it is currently in the view. So it's finished. No, it's not 100% finished. There are some things that I still have to finish on it, but it's finished. I talked with my daughter and she said that it looks as good as I said that it would look. My wife told me that she thinks that this is maybe one of the very few projects that I did end up finishing completely, meaning it's not just, you know, wires dangling all over it. It's working and the cable management is done, everything is clean, everything is tidy. So yeah, it was a fun project, I have to say. It took me a bit longer than I would like it to be. The biggest issue, of course, was the sourcing of the parts. I apologize, even the mic is positioned wrongly. My younger daughter is giving voices for the cartoons, you know, in Croatian language, so the kids don't have to read the text, and she's the one that she's giving the voices. This will be her third time, and we had to do the audition yesterday, so she was sitting here and I was recording her. So we are there, yeah, Johnny, and this is this is Voron 2.4. You're a bad boy with that Prusa link. The biggest issue for me was the sourcing of the parts and that power supplies were late. They still haven't arrived. I did receive notification today that the power supplies I originally bought for this printer just arrived in Hungary. So in the next 10 days they'll probably be here. I did contact the local Minwell distributor, ordered them from them, received them, installed them, tested, and it's working. And that's the only reason why this project took so long. It took. I decided to go to build a Voron, to buy Voron, to whatever Voron, around mid of August. Around 5th or 10th of September I ordered parts, and most of the printer was built around mid-October. So since then till this week, Wednesday, it was finished. I apologize. It was finished sitting here on the floor. This was complete mess because I couldn't, get all the stuff out of here until I finished the printer. So finally, it's finished. Horst, thank you. Yeah. Filament for calibration. I didn't do any calibration. When I was thinking on what we will do on stream, I said, bye. When I was planning the stream, I wanted to go through the software setup, initial configuration and everything. And I said, yeah, well, that can take a long time, so no, we will not be doing a stream. We will go through the printer. We will print something. Of course, we will print something that I already printed, but this time in a black ABS. Evening, Lee. So let me change the view here to mainstream. nice seeing you. Or nice see you seeing me. I see you in the chat. Hopefully we will see each other soon. No spoilers. Let me just change here. My other big issue is that this box is now sitting in front of my second monitor and I cannot see anything what's going on there. This is temporary webcam. I'm still not sure what I will do with the webcam per printer, so let me first heat up, because these printers like to soak up, so let me heat it up. So what I did is I finished everything. I did a test print, I did all the calibration. So there is the assembly guide is really good. I did write 5-6 pages of text, and I will publish it on a GitHub and push some change requests or make pull requests on documentation where the documentation is lacking. So the documentation is for Voron build is really, I wouldn't say simple, but easy to follow. There are some things that are missing here. For example, let me show you. It's this part here. They do not show you how to install the vent, but there are a lot of other guides that tell you how to install the vent, because these vents have to be, you have to disassemble the case from the vent, then push it inside this mount and install it on the printer. So more or less the guide for this was great. Overall documentation was great. I did have one issue yesterday and I'm still not sure what happened. I don't know if the screws or the T-nut is stripped, but one of the belts pulled out yesterday. So the belt goes in this, I don't know how it's called, holder or whatever, and I managed to get it out. It completely fell out of it, and I don't know how it should do that, because this should really grip it very well. Let me switch. Okay, so this is first part. When you finish assembling it, then comes the fun part. I would say that if you have all the parts and everything, you can do it over the weekend. So 2 days to completely mechanically build everything. Then I think it takes around 1 full day to do the cabling. Because even I bought ready-made harness at the end. Everything was labeled, everything was tested by the manufacturer, but at the end I managed to spot that some cables were in reverse. For example, for the probe has 3 cables or 3 wires. 2 are ground plus voltage and the third one is signal, and they were reversed. It's a good catch, because if I didn't catch it in time and turn the board on, I could probably burn either the probe or the board. And one costs, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 euros. The other one costs 40, 50 euros. So there would be additional costs if I wouldn't check that. There was also I had a couple of issues when I did power on the printer. I did manage to home it both X and Y, and it's strange. I had 2 errors, which in if they're combined, they give you positive result. Each of those errors, if they would be separate, the printer would fail. Not catastrophically, but you would have to either press the kill switch, turn off the power, or whatever. So what happened? My X and Y were reversed. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So my X and Y were reversed. So when it was homing first Y axis, then it was homing the X axis. But once again, the documentation is great. Now let me show you here. So besides the manual, the website is great. You have how to choose a printer, what type of the extruder should you go with, what types are there, blah blah blah. Then you have sourcing information, how to buy everything. Then you have bill, and the bill is made out of mechanical assembly, which, as I said, probably takes you around full weekend. So I did follow this assembly manual. Then you have electrical wiring. Everything is really, really, as I said, well documented. You have information on pretty much anything. If there is anything missing, it always points you to the Discord server. On Discord server, there are a lot of people 24/7 that can help you if you have any issues. This is I would call it the major problem is some printers have both so some printers require mains voltage not just for the power supply, then to convert it to 24 volts, but also have bed running on 220 volts. So bed on this printer is running 220 volts, meaning the mains voltage does come here. So you really have to be careful on how you do it. I wasn't playing that much with that part. I did use Vago connectors, both under the hood, meaning where the main voltage is distributed between the two PSUs. There is a power supply unit for the main board. This is this one, 224 volts, and the other one is this DC to DC converter. I'm using 25 watt 5 volt power supply to supply power both to the Raspberry Pi and to the LEDs, because yeah, this printer is already hooked up to Home Assistant. It has WLEDs running. The problem is, I think that something here is giving me issues with the Wi-Fi, and I'm losing connection. So currently the LEDs are running, but I cannot access them. I cannot even turn them on or off from here. This would require me to fully power cycle the printer, which is something that I will not be doing, at least not now. Yeah, Johnny. I have no words for that beautiful Prusa XL printer that will probably be released. It is released, but you cannot get it until the June next year for minimum price of 2,100 euros disassembled, and for just another 500 euros or dollars, and for just another $500 they will be assembled, and for just I don't know how many dollars you will even get panels. So for around $3,000 you will get Prusa XL. No, I will not be going that route. Yeah, but the printer does look good. I will be waiting to see what will be the reviews for the Prusa XL. But I think that a lot of people have forgot the starts of the Prusa and the war with the open source community. Hi Pedro. Something that is happening with the slice engineering currently is something that also happened when Prusa started releasing printers. He was commercializing the open source, if I'm not mistaken. It was a long time ago. I didn't follow that. Mini, okay, that one, yeah. But if I remember correctly, when it started, the Prusa was in, I wouldn't call it a war, but on bad terms with the 3D printer community, because they were feeling that he commercialized some of the ideas from the community, which were released as open source without commercial license, meaning that you cannot commercially sell it. But nah, nevertheless, it's great to see that he's going with Core XY printer. I haven't really seen, I've just seen image, so what I would tell it would be probably wrong, because I've only seen a couple of images. I didn't have time to look at any reviews or interviews with him. But I like the Core XY. I'm not sure if he has moving Z-axis, or is the bed fixed and the XY is moving. So I would one of the reasons I went for this one, which is, I would say, the more complex maybe version in terms of some parts, is to keep bed fixed. That was one of the things why I went for this design. But as I was saying, documentation was really great. It was very easy to follow. When you do software install, which is also really good because it guides you for all the major boards, how to flash them, how to configure them. I went with the Fluid. Then you have the software installation and initial setup. So the initial setup, I think I spent around 4 hours on it, and it took me much longer than I wanted to. So, as I was still playing with the wires, I had printer upside down, meaning that the bottom part with the electronics was on top. I had no panels. Panels are now installed. And when I was testing it, everything looked okay. When I reversed it for the first time homing, this also went well. So I did this part. This is the stepper driver testing to see if they are moving in right direction. I somehow managed to test the drives, install the drives, cable, everything in reverse. So I had, this one was Z, then this was Z1, Z2 and Z3. So Z1 and Z3 were reversed, which in turn wouldn't have any issues until you do the quad gantry leveling, which measures the distance for each of the 4 points and then corrects itself, or tilts the gantry to align it correctly. For example, if Z3 would have been wrongly aligned, in my case it would move Z1, so that could potentially break everything. I would probably kill the printer. We used the kill switch before, but that could potentially damage. So as I didn't shorten the cables, I just tied them down with the zip ties. It was easy fix. I just reversed 2 cables and everything was working. Then I did end stop check, both manually. You go here, go to tuning, and then press it here, and you get notification, is this triggered or not? Or for example, for this one, yeah. So it's easy to test everything before you ran into issues. The next step was XY homing check, and it worked. It homed one axis, then it homed the other axis, but the problem is, it did look to me like it's doing everything correctly, but something was off. So it did first home X, and it did home later on Y. But as I went to check something, it looked like it moved in a wrong direction. Good thing was that also my switches were connected wrongly, so the cables came with the stickers, so you know which cable is X and which cable is Y. They were reversed, and both my motors were, or the direction pins were reversed. So when I fixed the motors, because they were moving first in the X direction, then to the Y, and it should first move to the it should move like this. It didn't detect the switch because it was waiting for the trigger on one switch and it was not triggering. So yeah, it was funny. This was one time that I needed kill switch. Bed locating is very easy at the end. There is a, let me get this here. Let's switch camera, just a second. Where is it? Nope, wrong camera. Come on. So this is the Z switch, and you can also see the Wago terminals. I used Wagos inside this chamber because no matter if I heat it to 100 degrees or chamber gets to 50, or sorry, to 50 degrees, it should still be working. So this was not that hard. This part was no problem. Inductive probe check. I was afraid because with the China's source parts you're either hit or miss, and mine worked well. It's good that I did notice that the cables were the pins on the connectors were pinned wrongly. So yeah, I did fix this. Then you have PID tuning. I did first PID tuning with without panels. Later on, I repeated tuning with the panels because I will mostly print in ABS, and you should do PID tuning with the values that you will probably be using most. So yeah, I PID tuned it with 100 degrees and 250 with the panels. But one of the other issues I had, or I didn't have, but I could potentially have, was that my fuse under the bed is 115 degrees. And this fuse is in line with mains, meaning that if the bed hits over or at 115, it should break and kill the mains coming to the bed. And there is tolerance. 10% can be tolerance for those fuses. So the question was, if I do PID tune of the bed and it fails, yeah, it could be a problem. Hey Matt Work, nice to seeing you here. You are alive and kicking. Okay. Well, I didn't. Yeah, Pedro, I'm using Stream Elements. I'm not using Stream Labs. I think that I've read something about it. This is something like slice engineering and the hot ends. Oh, Stream Elements. Oh, then definitely I will have to check it out because I'm. I will definitely check that out. I don't like supporting companies that are, you know, going against the community, such as yeah. I had problems with Streamlabs. So that's why I went with the Stream Elements. Yeah, I don't know. I will have to check that out. Andy. Well, I don't know where to start. So, what are the specs of this printer? So it's 300 by 300. It is Core XY, belted Core XY on linear rails. So one of the mods you can do for Ender 3 is install linear rails because they are much more precise, and belts have to be tuned. Belts have problems because of the use or heat or whatever. They can extend. It's fraction of extension, but because of that you have to tighten the belts, keep them, you know, tuned. The people in the Voron community, for example, use the guitar tuning app, so that they tune the frequency of the belts to match, I don't know, 150 hertz or something like that. So what Vorons can do that Ender 3s cannot do, since according to specs they should have panels, they can do any material that requires heated chamber. You can also cover Ender 3. All the parts for this printer were printed on Ender 3 on ABS, because due to how this printer works, it should have the ABS parts. Speeds. For example, minimum speed or speed without any benchmark, or sorry, without any tuning or whatever, this is stock. The only thing that's been calibrated on this printer so far is Z position of the nozzle, so I get good prints. When I said good prints, I did test couple of prints. These are of course Voron parts once again. This is a Voron cube. This is first print on this printer. It tests more or less everything. For example, inside there is a bridge, and it ended up printing it perfectly. I did have some issues here, but that was because I didn't tighten belts on this printer enough. I did later. And so the biggest difference I would say is speeds and types of material it can print out of box. This is all metal hot end. I printed yesterday something at 250 with my Ender 3 that has PTFE tube inside. I cannot go above 230, maybe 235. If you want to go with materials that require higher temperatures, you would need to change the hot end. This is direct drive, meaning that the motor for the we had voting for that. Unfortunately, Johnny lost. He wanted pink. I will print some pink parts just for futures if I ever do anything that will be visible on this printer, just so that Johnny can be happy. So it has extruder motor on the rail, which allows it to print also the flexible materials. There is retractions are very low. It's 1 millimeter or less, meaning that you will get much less stringing that you would get on normal printer. Let's check because I want to start printing something. Currently it's 40. Let's position. Let me do this. Just a second. Let me get the other cam off. Okay, sorry, let me switch to this one here, and let's do the magic of bed leveling. It probes each of the corners. This is not bed leveling, this is gantry leveling. It probes each corner, then goes a couple of times in the circle, just to make sure that all the rails, this rail here, the ones in the back and on the other side, are aligned and on the zero, I would say. I love this. let's switch back to the fluid. Okay. And let's check the temperature. So the chamber internal temperature is 33.6. On the back side, there is a guide or something for the chain where the cables go, and there is a mod for it to insert the thermistor inside. So I did that. So now I have case temperature also, which helps because for the ABS you should be around 40 degrees to print it. Let's leave on the edge and print this on the current temperature. So we'll be printing this one. I'm still fighting with Super Slicer. I never used Super Slicer before, so I love the ability to embed the icon or image of the print you're doing. So it will once again, yeah, this is the problem I'm having. This is the problem that I keep getting disconnects from the printer. It's working normally, but the web page cannot talk with the printer. And I think that this is the problem with the Wi-Fi. I have Unify. I did cave in and buy Unify. I'm not that impressed with the performance, unfortunately. I did upgrade firmware a couple of weeks ago, and I think that it deteriorated the performance of the Wi-Fi network. So, yeah. Let's see what's the temperature. It didn't start heating. I like how it heats up. It does take a bit longer for the bed to heat up, but not that much. I still haven't installed the filter. I have it here. Let me like that. Let it heat up. So this is the this back panel has also been printed on this printer. No warping, no anything. It printed perfectly. I haven't fixed this or I haven't installed this on the printer because this one requires you to... Did I lose it? No. This one was made so that you can install the filament on the back side of the printer, and I will have filament on the side of the printer. So I have already prepared file. After the stream I will start printing the version where the filament goes out like this, and it goes here. You have filters. There is a vent, and this should reduce the particles in the air, and this is the cover for the backside. This should reduce the could be, yeah, I didn't think of it. Yeah, because it has that energy saving, but the voltage itself is okay, so maybe it can be that Wi-Fi echo mode where it turns off Wi-Fi or something like that. I have to play with it. I did first go to see in the Clipper logs, mainsail, if there is any kind of issue, but oh, it already is printing. Yep. Okay, I hate when I have only one screen. How I managed to do everything previously with just one screen. Sorry. So it is printing. I hope that first layer goes well. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I cannot because the WLED is also. Let me see. I cannot see anything. Let me try to get this camera in. Yeah, it was very wise decision to use black filament. It is printing something. Let's check here. Wrong. Something looks, yeah, it's not sticking. I didn't clean up the, I was, yeah. Let me cancel this one and clean first bed. It will now refresh. It does it every time. Come on. I hate it. Ouch. Yeah. I have to clean it just a second. Isopropyl alcohol on 100 degrees. It's okay. Just a second. I was cleaning the panels before the stream. Okay. I was cleaning the nozzles and I think that I messed up the PEI sheet. Let's heat this up. It should heat up quickly.
When the downtown lights start to come out at night, we go insane, and when
Z offset is at 0. I think that I calibrated Z offset correctly, but we will see now. And print this one. Okay. This is hi Alan. No, I'm not going to use Octoprint, and I think I have to thank Pedro for that, but not only him. A lot of people were talking about Clipper, and I did have spare time, so I played with the Clipper, installed it on the Ender 3, and after trying Clipper I would definitely never go back to Marlin. And the problem with Octoprint always worked perfectly for me, and I was really happy with how Octoprint is working. but it always felt bloated. You know, there are a lot of things that you can do there. There are a lot of things that it can do for you. There are a lot of plugins, but somehow I never was happy with how it worked out. And because of that, when I installed Clipper here, I didn't go for Octoprint, I went with the Fluid, and it's much more streamlined, easier to use. There are things that are missing. The only thing that I was really missing here was the time-lapse functionality. Then I managed to find a plugin for it. I have it already installed on the Clipper, on the Ender 3. On this one I still didn't install. I just temporarily installed this camera here just for this stream, because I'm still not sure if I will be using this camera or if I will be using a Raspberry Pi camera. I'm waiting for that camera to arrive. It will be probably here in 2 weeks. Until that time I will not have camera on this printer, which I really need to supervise how it's working. I did already install it in Home Assistant. Pedro, once again, thanks for that. This is Raspberry Pi 4 megs of RAM, I think. Let's check it here. I will once again... No, I didn't miss the window. Raspberry Pi 4B 3.6 gigs of... It looks better now. 3.6 gigs of RAM, so yeah, it's Raspberry Pi 4 with 4 gigs of RAM. What's that spike? 640. Strange. Yeah, everything looks more or less okay, so enough space, enough RAM, enough resources, so it shouldn't have any issues. I'm not sure why it is constantly... Yeah, did you see that spike? I'm not sure why it spiked like that. What I'll probably do is I'll reinstall everything, save my configuration files, which are... I did already customize parts of it, you know, start code, things like that. Let me switch the camera just a second. Oh, I hate myself. It's constantly opening Home Assistant screen. I love accelerations. And I'm still using stock No, it was doing the same thing without web camera attached, so this is completely unrelated to the webcam. So this was before I integrated Home Assistant, before I added webcam, I had exactly the same problem. And when it's printing, I don't see those problems, mostly when I'm triggering commands or it's doing some kind of output. It shouldn't. Horst, it's Voron Cube. It's, you know, nothing. In terms of G code, it's really nothing. So it shouldn't be an issue. I don't know why it's doing. If you can run Clipper on Pi 0, not Pi 0 2, but Pi 0 Raspberry 4 with 4 gigs of RAM should be overkill for it. So I don't think that this is the problem. I will most probably, the card I have, the problem can be card. SD card that's inside is, I don't want to use profanities in stream, so I will, you know, say nothing. Let me see if I can get the light in. It's printing nicely. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me try and kill the green screen here. Webcam overhead, this one, filters, chroma key. How do you blue? Can you see this? This is how my green screen looks now. Let's kill this cam. Okay, let's go like this. Yeah, my green screen has RMA. I've never seen green screen with RMA. So this is my RMA number or my ticket number with Elgato, and it has a 10 kilos, something like that, total. One latch broke on the case. I opened the ticket and they said, yeah, this cannot be fixed. And I was like, what am I going to do with it? No problem, we will send you a new one. Just please write in black marker, in permanent marker, the RMA number on the green screen and take photo of it. And when we see the photo, and if we decide that it has not been photoshopped, so it has to be real, we will just send you the new one. You just recycle the old one. So I'm waiting for the new green screen to arrive. I didn't expect that one, but you know, yep. So I'm now yeah, have to pull this all the way up so I have the numbers above my head. Good thing is that the screen also is black, so black marker and the black background it helps. Sonos. Why? Sonos doesn't require you to. Oh yeah, they yeah, you're right. I forgot. I read something about it. Yeah. They are. But on the other hand, I already have a green screen, not a green screen like this one, like green material for green screen. If I would have time and energy, I could just remove this green screen and install the new one. So on the other hand, I don't even have room here for one green screen, so two would be too much. Maybe I will give it to one of my friends if he needs it, because you can stream even with that. On the other hand, if I wouldn't like this number to be shown on other streams, because they probably couldn't do anything, or they could try to charge me. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Sonos. It's really shame. They were breaking devices. It's good for environment, though. I hate my eye. So, what's next? What's left? Okay, so I installed WLED. So I installed Quid Uno board. I designed the mount for it, for the DIN rail. I designed it matches the boards, the Uno boards perfectly. So if anybody ever wants DIN rail mount for the Uno, I have it. I was too lazy to do 2 holes for the universal DIN rail clip. So what I ended up is printed 1 clip and used the glue for that. Yeah, maybe you missed when I said I went to our summer house and I promised my dad that I would so I promised my dad that I would take care of the bushes that were overgrown, and I managed to poke myself in the eye. I was using electric cutters and cutting the branches, and when I cut one big branch, it just released the second one, and it slapped me directly in the eye. And that's why I remembered I had my goggles somewhere in a safe place, but yeah, forgot to take them. Maybe it's my internet. Let's switch to this one. Yay! Home Assistant. Pedro, thanks. I used code that you provided for this. This is actually printing. Let's check the internet link. Yep, the speed dropped significantly. But it still should be perfect. Connection is still excellent according to the YouTube Studio Analytics. But it has been dropping. But still, it shouldn't be 144p. It's good that I do not have equipment to stream in 4K because it would fail. So, just a second. I don't have filament guide still. So I hope there will be no issues with the print because the filament got stuck. Okay. I hate it when it moves. It's printing. We will see when it prints, when it finishes. How long? Time remaining 55 minutes, print time 10, so 1 hour and 5 minutes. Okay. Let's check here. I didn't do MQTT integration. MQTT integration. I finished integrated inside my Home Assistant 10 minutes before the start of the stream. I did second restore because I failed and I forgot to rename some of the sensors, and I was reusing sensor names from the Ender 3 because I still have Ender 3, which will be going away. I'll be selling it. So yeah, I failed, and I had just enough time to fix it and restart Home Assistant before the stream. I will do definitely MQTT integration. What I was saying is I did install WLED, Diguno with WLED here. There are currently 2 strips with 10 LEDs and new strip with, this one is 30 LEDs per meter, meaning that I have 2/3 of the strip used here. The new one is coming, which will be 60 LEDs per meter, so it will be 20 LEDs on each side. This can still be powered from the power supply inside. So power supply is supplying power to both Raspberry Pi and the LEDs. So I have to do the automations for that. I'm still not sure if I will be doing automations inside the Clipper, because if we go here, you can see, okay, first let's go to Moonraker. You can see that I have here WLED cold case. This is the, I'm moron. I am idiot. Of course I cannot control the LEDs because LEDs are on the IP address 65 and my printer is on 152, but no problem. Okay. So here is the definition of the IP address of the WLED, and in the printer configuration there are macros at the end. I still have to play with those. I still have to play with those macros. Here it is. So we have WLED on, LED off, and set LED, when you can set the strip, color, white, index, transition. Index is, I think, for the how it's called. Let's see if it can work now. Oh, it's here for the effect. So currently it is candy cane. Let's do something brighter. Nope, that's not bright enough. That's definitely not bright enough. No. The problem is that these two Elgato lights, anything compared to them is low brightness. Yeah. Now, let's do chase flash random. Okay. So, as I said, I don't know if I will be doing control of the WLEDs from within the clipper or from within the Home Assistant. I want to tie those things together, depending on, finished print, failed print, post print, heating up, and things like that. So I want to play with the visuals here. That's one of the things that oh, moron, sorry. Horst. Yeah, I'm where is it now? So you didn't see anything, right? Let's do it from the beginning. Okay, so in printer configuration file, I have WLED, WLED on, WLED off, G-code macros that control the WLEDs. Then there is the option here to control the whatever, color or effect. In the Moonraker, me had wrong address, so in the Moonraker you just add this one. It should be sufficient to control the WLEDs, but as I said, I'm not sure if I will be controlling them from the Home Assistant or from the clipper. It lost connection once again. No, it didn't. It's working now, okay. There is something going on with the network. This line here should be, you see, connection to light failed. There is something going on with the network. There is new update for the Unify controller, so I will be probably updating both controller and the access points. Okay, let's see how the print is going. This camera is useless. It is printing, it looks okay. It should be okay. So yeah, there are additional things that I want to do. I want to do purge basket and nozzle cleaning. I'm waiting for the brass brush for that. I did already in I would say 24 hours of me printing whatever printing, and I did print 1, 2, 3. I also I printed these. Oh, come on. So I printed these clips for the extrusions. I did hide all the cables. There is a lot of cabling. I think I used around 5 meters of cables, PTFE or PTFE wire, just for the LEDs. Because these are the digital LEDs, I had to get signal all across. So there is one strip on this side. So this strip on this side. The wires are, let me get the camera here. If you can see them. So how do wires go? On this side of the frame here, they get out from underneath. They are hidden with those clips in the extrusion. Then they go up to first LED. Here they feed 3 wires, so plus, minus, and signal. From the back of this wire, there goes additional wire back to the end side of the extrusion. On the back side, it joins 2 additional wires for the electricity, and then is connected to that LED. Because signal has to go, the LED in terms of signal has to have continuity, or the addressing of the LEDs wouldn't work. So when I split the wires, when I split the LED strips, they moved like this. So yeah, that's why you have to have connection between this here and that part here. So it is a lot of cabling. I did manage to get everything in the extrusions. I did use first normal wire, but they were just too thick for this, so I ended up using PTFE for this. Wow, man. It works. Who cares? So what's left? I have to do purge basket and nozzle cleaning. I have to install the new filter, which will have filament going from the side, not from the back. I have to decide where the camera will be going. Will it be in this corner here, camera, and I will be using PyCam, or will I mount somewhere on top looking down, but from the inside? This one is from the outside. From the inside, camera looking down on the prints. So that's still what I have to do. I will be doing. Let's look at here at the list of. I have to go first through this Andrew Ellis list of tuning, or the startup tuning guide for the printer. I think that what I only did was this part here. First layer squish. That's the only thing so far I did on the printer. I have to exchange the mounting bracket for the back side of the extruder, because I have one that also has a holder for the ADXL, so I can do input shaping. I will have it permanently installed on the back side. I like the ones that are on the front side could probably be better ones because they're closer to the nozzle, but as I want to have it permanently installed, not used but installed, I will be using one on the back side. So I have to do the input shaper. After that I have to do the pressure advance, all the other calibrations. I have to learn super slicer. I really, after Cura, you know, sometimes software that is made for dummies, which I am one of, that is really user-friendly, that handles everything for you, later on makes it harder to switch to something that allows you to have more control or better control of some of the things. For example, how can I do that? Like this. Can you see this? I don't see. Okay, you can see. So this is a super slicer. I really do like it, but moving from Cura to this one is hard. Anybody who's using Prusa slicer should be familiar with it, but I was using Cura for a couple of years. I got used to it, and it's really hard with all the options to be 100% sure touching or changing something, what impact at the end will it have on the quality of the prints. And at the end, all you do here is you want to have as fast as it is possible physically, as good as it is possible physical print. So yeah, I still have to play a lot with super slicer. I did change some of the things here. As I was printing Voron parts, I used Voron proposed infills, just infills. Yeah, the infills are, I think, at 41% or something like that. 31, which is strange. I'm not sure if you can. I didn't even try. You know, afraid of change. Yeah, you can use. There are predefined values, but you can use your own values. Okay. So this is something that I have to look into. Pedro asked me about speeds. These are the default speeds. After I do input shaper and pressure advance and move printer from this desk, it's currently on a desk that is very flimsy, and if there is higher acceleration, you can feel the whole desk shaking. So that's why I'm not currently printing anything that I want to be sure is printing correctly, because I don't know what is the current impact even of those lower speeds of the vibrations on the desk. It's like shaking like this at the moment. Okay, I like how it allows you to have, let's look at purge basket, for example. This is something that I have to print. I like how it makes thumbnail or icon of the print you will be printing, because it really helps to see what you have inside your printer. Can we print this without supports? I think I'm currently using around 20. What is it? Cooling 20. Nope. Where is it? Bridging. 30% for the bridging. Yeah. Let's kill this. Yeah, it looks like no support is needed. What is your Voron Horst? What do you have? as budget energy drink. $350. And how is it with 350 in terms of heating up, chamber temperature? Something that I didn't spare money on was the bed. I went with the Europeans. When I was sourcing the materials, I was looking at what could have critical impact on the quality of the print. So for example, maybe I did go wrong with the LDO stepper motors, high temperature stepper motors for the AB plus extruder, because these are the ones that are not 1.8 but 0.9. But other than that, so no problem with the heating of the chamber. One thing I didn't spare, I would say, money on the stepper motors, linear rails, bed, what else? Oh, belts, pulleys, those things. Nice. Did you install the concrete brick or something for the stability? This one will be sitting on the floor, which I hope will give it more stability. I have to this weekend I have a lot of things. I have to move the piano. My kid is playing piano, so I have to move the piano, which is behind this green screen, into her room, move some furniture out, get this big boy out, bolted to the wall. Nice. This one fits just, I have in-wall wardrobe for the coats, and if I install it between that wardrobe and whatever is on the right side, you can just barely open it up and get the coats out. But this is the only place that I'm allowed, I wouldn't say allowed, this is the only place I did find where I can install the 3D printer. Currently my Ender 3 is there, that my wife was, I wouldn't say it okay, because if I would say okay, it means that she gave me blessing and she liked the spot, but that's really the only place where I can put something that big, not to occupy any other space. My channel was, because when I was thinking about the channel, I had a couple of names, and one of my playlists is called Printing Bunker or something like that. This building was built around 50-60 years ago, and it's strange because it was completely modern, glass, reinforced concrete, everything, but still they had wooden stoves, or not wooden stoves. Heating was with a wooden, I don't know how it's called, not furnace, because it's not furnace, it's like tiles, those special tiles, something like that. And there is something that we call bunker. Everybody calls it bunker. This is placed in front of the apartment. It's a concrete box, 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter. It's on the outer side of rail, so the door is on the inside, but the box itself is pushed outside. It has 3 holes on each side with tubes to allow circulation of the air, and it was used to store wood. So when I was selling the idea of buying 3D printer, when my wife told me, where's not this one, the Ender 3, my wife said, where will we be keeping that ugly thing? And I said, I will be keeping that in the bunker. Of course, it never went there. It wasn't there even for a minute, but good idea. Good thing is, for example, if it's not winter or not summer, somewhere like autumn or spring. In theory, this one, because it's enclosed, could even work from there. Yeah. Maybe I mean, no, definitely not. I cannot do any permanent installation of this printer. I will get evicted. Let's see. Oh, it looks nice. So, oh yeah, Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder. Anybody tried it? You should see my Ender 3. I did a lot of upgrades on it, but one of the first upgrades I did was not one of the first, but let's call it one of the first major upgrades of the Ender 3 Pro was SKR 1.3 with 2209 stepper drivers. They were just released when I bought them, and I did custom case for both Pi, buck converter, SKR board, and everything, and I never printed the lid on it. Never, which means all the wires are just like popping out. And when I do vacuum cleaning, I have to use this can to blow all the dust that's inside the electronics tangled with the wires. Then I vacuum clean around it. You have leftover filament that just fell there. It's terrible. One of the things I will be printing before I sell that printer, which is really working perfectly, is the lid finally for that electronic compartment. So yeah, this is one of the prints. This printer will be printing parts for that printer so it can be shipped out. And I'm still not sure. I was even considering to give this printer to a school. Ender 3 is a great printer. It has great electronics. It has Raspberry Pi on it. You can control it from anywhere, and it can be a really great printer for kids to start learning and either designing in the Tinkercad and then printing it or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe at the end. Yeah. Or I would just strip it for the parts. Take TMC 2209s from there. SKR board and burn everything else and extrude, or maybe no, I cannot have two printers. If I would ever, the only printer really, if I would get a second printer would be a resin printer, but I don't have place where I could keep it printed and inhale those fumes. So. And I don't know for what I will be using. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do anything anymore, so I would not be able to print or do whatever. I was thinking about doing switchwire, but I don't need second printer. This one is perfect for all my projects, future projects, and I have already a long list of things that I need to print. For example, I need to reprint most of the cases for most of my projects because they were done in a PLA. Let's look at the Andrea Dono's tag reader. You cannot see it now. You will not be able to see it here. You will not be able to see it. It's the case. The top case of the box is looking ugly. So I will be reprinting most of these PLA boxes in ABS. I have to print 6 boxes for the Hygra boards. I have to print 5 or 6 Diguno boards, Diguno cases. So there are a lot of reprints that I want to do for projects I did previously, but there are also some other things that I want to do. And I have to thank Deadly. He's not here, but he's on my Discord server. and Pedro or Johnny and Deadly for pushing me to start learning Fusion 360. I did what every noob should do, and that's, let's see if this works. I designed, I forget always how you control this. Is it, no, it's with shift. Shift, yeah. So as every new user, what I did, I designed, oh, I didn't finish lid. Yeah. This one is Hello World for the Fusion 360. Johnny, it was you. I think it was you and Deadly that pushed me in that direction. I really thank you. I really wish I would have more time, to be able to dedicate a week, but not full week, 2 hours every day for a week. Do all the tutorials, try to do something, follow tutorials, then try designing something myself in 360. My Diguno holder was designed in a Tinkercad, which really is, it works. At the end, it all comes down to if it works or not. It works, but was it easy? Did I do it the best possible way? No. Yeah, I know. 2 hours a day would really allow me to do stuff. For example, I did watch this tutorial, and I will now talk a language that I barely understand. I wouldn't say that I understand, but concept of how it works. I know how to create plane, to extrude something, to get the shape. But I always think that there is an easier way to do something than how I would like to do it. For example, I don't have any. Let's look at this one. It's very simple shape, but if you look at designing it, you have, probably it was designed, you have on one plane, just this border or box, it was filled. Then you put another box inside that is hollow. Then you have these hex objects or whatever, and you copy them, and then you slice the extra. So it's probably how it's done. But for example, for those holders, I simply cannot envision what would be the best way to start designing them, because it looks like H, but the legs on each end go out to match the holes on the board. So it's not a perfect H. So yeah, I still have to figure out first in my head, then how it works, then to translate this to the Fusion 360. That's why I think my next project will be pen, because I think that the next tutorial is how to build your own pen or create a pen or something like that. Let's see how this is going. Wrong button. It's printing 32 minutes. I really like these. So these were the extrusion caps or holders that I was printing. This was for the squish, and this was the new filter cap, because my old one, I cannot stand this. Let's move from this to this. So my old one, I don't know if you've seen video about the OSEC build plate. I really like it. I don't know if you have seen it, OSEC build plate, and I really do. I really like the spatial intelligence quotient. I'm lacking. My IQ is... I really do like that plate, but I don't know if you've seen the video. I mentioned it a couple of times that I ruin all my build plates, and what I do is I always crash the nozzle in the build plate when I'm not around, and I let it print for at least 5 minutes, so it scratches whole build plate. I printed the back side of this how it's called, the filter for the Voron, and you can see the imprint from where the build plate was damaged. I'm not using any part cooling on ABS, and it printed well for me. I will see if I will have any kind of problem or issue with something. I'm still this is my first really enclosed printer, so I'm still trying to see what matches this crappy filament I have, and this would be one of my questions. What is the filament that you guys are using? I'm using Polish company. I will not be using it anymore. I was looking maybe to I was thinking maybe to buy Filamenton or something like that. I want the ABS. I want European company just for simplicity of delivery. Just give me a second. I want to show you something. And it's related to the OSEC, the build plate. Sorry. Add north. Isan. I will be receiving for testing Isan's bags for filament, for storing filament, and also their dehumidifier for the filament. I was really hoping to have them here by this weekend, so we could look at them and even try and put some filament there. I have in shopping cart Isan's ABS Plus, maybe something like that. So I will definitely order one roll of that. Add North, I didn't hear about them. I will Google them. So I know I'm boring you with this, but the build plate really was great. It's I would say I was begging them to make 300 by 300. I was begging them to make other dimensions because yeah, Ender 3 is very popular. The Prusa and Prusa Mini are really popular, but there are a lot of other printers that use either 250, 300 or 350. So I was begging them to make sizes that would match Voron's. I know that there are only 5,000-6,000 total, I think, both serialized and non-serialized Voron printers probably in the world, but there are also other printers that use 250, 300, 350 build plates. And they say that they are looking into it. Maybe they will make for a start 300, later on others. But I don't know if you've noticed this in video, and I really try to hide it because I'm really ashamed and I was so embarrassed. I received this build plate for testing. It's good thing that it is double-sided. As I said in my video, it's really good that it is double-sided. So I had to do video on it and I had to test it. And the first print I did, and these are the clips for the Voron for the electronics. I damaged the board. And it still works. You can still print on it. Everything still attaches, But I hate it because all parts I print, besides that nice top or bottom part, because bottom part sticks to the build plate, always have engraved whatever I printed and crashed my nozzle with. So it was like in one clip when I was talking about this build plate, what I did is, and good thing is that this build plate is also double-sided, and I did like this, and you can barely see the damage on the other side because I was so ashamed of my stupidity. And the problem is, it's not my laziness, it was something that I never finished fixing things. For example, on Ender 3, each time I restart the printer, I have to remember to do a Z offset. No matter what I changed in the configuration, no matter what I do, it never Z offsets correctly. So currently I have to put, I think, 0.1. And at this point it was 2 millimeters or 1.4 millimeters too low. The extruder or hot end nozzle was 1.2 millimeters too low. I don't know how, but I managed to fix this here. Yeah, it's like fails. I have a lot of fails. Oh, something that is not related to the Voron, and this is Voron stream. These are the old water station motors. I received new ones and they fit perfectly, and the water station itself runs great. I've been now using it to water the flowers that are up there for a month, and it's really working perfectly. So if anybody wants to try and play with the soldering iron, I definitely would recommend I will be posting under the video that I released for the watering station the new links to the motors. They match perfectly. Oh, by the way, Johnny, I don't know if you're still here. One thing I will be installing inside this printer is Metrifull sensor. I don't know if you've seen it. I think that they released project on a Kickstarter. I received their sensor board together with the particle meters, still present, great. So together with the particle sensor, but from what I've seen, the last update on the GitHub was 9 months ago. The store is in the sold out state since the last new year, so almost 1 year. So I will be installing inside the printer particle meter sensor, sound level sensor, so air quality plus sound plus what it has, light, sound, and something like that. So it will be fun. So I'll be having sensor telling me if the particles inside printer do rise when you print with the ABS or not. Nobody will use it, but half of my sensors nevertheless nobody uses anyway, so yeah. It's easier to ask Google what is the current humidity in the town than to look on the mobile app or whatever. Let's check the print. So I will be removing the SD card because my SD card here really is something cheap. So maybe the problem with the losing of connection is related to the speed of the SD card. I don't know how it will relate because the clipper should be running from memory, but who knows. Don't open the doors when you're printing. This camera is crap. it's really stupid to buy a C920 camera for the printer, but this is C270 and it's really not good camera. Let's use nice language. What will be? I think 19 years. I have weather station in my summer house already 18 or 19 years. It's Lacrosse weather station 2300. Let's search for it. This one. So I have this weather station in my summer house. This is now the second one because we had the old one. It died. My father just went out and bought the same. I didn't want him to. It was working probably for some 15 years ago. I think we bought new one, or he bought new one to replace the old one that died some 2-3 years ago. And I want to replace this one. Even my father said that he finally wants to replace this one. I'm having hard time trouble finding ready-made, not DIY weather station, but commercial weather station that would have nice display, that would have wind, rain, so wind direction, speed direction, rainfall. Okay, humidity, temperature, pressure, that's for internal and external sensor. But, okay, something, just a second. Shoot. Okay, looks okay. So I'm looking for weather station that would have all those functionality. I would prefer for it to be to have local API, so that I can hook up and get data locally from it. And I would also prefer for it to have solar powered external sensors. Just a second. Okay, this looks good. So I would like really for it to have solar power sensors. I did look at a couple of them. I'm not interested to spend $500 for something that, you know, me or my father look 2 times a week. This one is connected. I'm interested into that. But I would really like to have, you know, very good device that would be solar powered externally. This one currently, because of this board, this weather station, I have one PC running 24/7 for 15-20 years. It is hooked up with RS-232 cable. It is using 240 bauds speed without parity check and that results in issues. There is all the communication is one way, so the PC really cannot acknowledge receiving data, so the data gets corrupted. It's really shitty system, but it has been working, you know, every 6 months or something like that. You have to go and restart both PC, reset the weather station, because when it fails the communication, it cannot reset itself. Once it fails, it will be failing from that point onwards. But as I said, it's been working for a lot years, 15, 18 years minimum, really, minimum. And it's pushing data to Weather Underground, and then in Home Assistant, I'm pulling that data in my Home Assistant from personal weather station from Weather Underground, which is really stupid. So my data goes to Weather Underground, which I do not support because of the changes they made into the data, commercially available data, selling data from personal weather station, things like that. So yeah. NetAtmo has great ones, but they look like more like sculptures than the real weather stations. I've seen that one American company that is selling, the all-in-one device. You have like a tube or something. I like it, but I'm not sure if I would go. I think it was around $300, $300, something like that. And it was sold in the US only. So my father wanted to buy something out of Amazon. And it was just improved version of this one. Once again, you do not have any kind of, you cannot access your own data. All the data, it says, he almost bought it because it said Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi is such a overstatement for devices like this. Wi-Fi really means, in terms of that device, that the data between the external sensors and internal sensors is transferred wirelessly with 433 protocol, which on the other hand also allows you to install some kind of receiver, 433 receiver, and get data in Home Assistant that way. But if I already have a system like that, I don't want to have a third system that would convert data. I want to have ability to access the data. Something is not right here. Well, yeah, so Home Assistant. Print looks great for no tuning. Oh, any good deals on the Black Friday, for the Black Friday? I know that Deadly posted the link. I'm not per se against, as you said, Chinesium cloud. I'm against any kind of cloud. And I work in IT. I sell cloud every day. I work in a cloud every day. But there is a big difference between what I do at work and what I do at home. I don't know how many trucks of cloud I've sold this year, and I have future project. I'm migrating customers completely from on-premise to cloud. In terms of data security and privacy, there is no difference between Chinese company and American company. Chinese company, at least the government is looking. American company, it's sold and my data is prostituted all the way around. So in terms of that, I don't know what's worse. Government looking at me, which at the end I don't care. Or they sell and resell whatever I do online. I have maybe even more problem with that part there. And I will not be going in that direction. I was already, once again, my stream was previously demonetized because of the so-called, how they call it, conspiracy theorists. And it's not conspiracy. I work with that. I know what happens with data. I work with some large international military organizations that spread across the Atlantic and Europe. We will not name them, and I know what they do with data. I know what they install on routers. I've seen it. I will not mention what organizations they are. There is no difference. One just do it in less suspicious way. Yeah, I had, when we were at that matter, I had one, I wouldn't say it hate mail post on the last video I did, but it was moving in that direction. From somebody commented on the SwitchBot. It was flame mail or whatever, but not towards me, towards the companies and the cloud. And the big problem with that post is not that I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that it's a bad idea to give all the data to everybody who wants it, but there are some data that are useless and pointless. For example, I agree, and all my cameras work locally. I don't use. That's why on the last stream we talked, and I said I will do a video when I manage to do something, and I did it, and I can now control that Chinese camera, pan tilt zoom through Home Assistant, and it was my goal from the day one. But I still haven't recorded because I have a problem, and I don't want to do installation. Sorry, I don't want to do installation guide for the camera that requires you to install software, not company-based software. This is YCC365, I think it's called, app, which is used by most of the Chinese cameras to set it up. You cannot change the IP address. You cannot do anything. Of course, you can change the IP address because you can force the DHCP server to give it specific address. But you cannot access the camera without the app. No, I tried everything. I'm no programmer, so I tried to access it by replicating what I know it works for other cameras. I couldn't do anything. So in order for you to work with that camera, you have to have installed the app. After you install the app, then you can take control and work from within Home Assistant and Synology. And it works in Home Assistant and it works in Synology. And camera feeds, I really do not want to expose to anybody but my family, and I want this to be in my home cloud. But for the humidifier, I really don't care. Really, I don't care. I have more issues with the switch, such as Shelly switch, Sonoff switch, Amazon switches or whatever, because switch can turn something on or off, and in terms of this printer, if it can turn it on, make the heater go heat, it can burn my apartment. With humidifier, you can kill me with humidifier. No, simply there is no data that's worth there. If it's running, it doesn't mean that I'm home. If it's not running, it also doesn't mean that I'm home. If somebody manages to turn it on from the cloud, what it can do, it can run out of water and shut down. You cannot force it to work. So, okay, so that guy was really, somebody was really frustrated with me doing a video on humidifier that it requires you to install the app, which sure, but I did mention in the video that I will be using API. For the API, you need cloud. That's it. There is no other way. If you want to use API, you must use cloud. But I also mentioned that there is an additional possibility to run it locally with Bluetooth. On the other hand, I would lie if I would say that I don't have Home Assistant devices or devices that are integrated Home Assistant with Bluetooth. I do have. I have Xiaomi Scale. I have two Xiaomi smart mosquito repellents. And that's it. When I started building my Home Assistant, I said I will never ever, which is really hard word, I will never ever have devices inside my network that require Bluetooth. Why? Even I was just for fun. I installed my Xiaomi Scale inside Home Assistant. It's 4 meters or 5 meters away, but there are two walls dividing the receiver with the Xiaomi Scale. It's not worth for me to have additional Bluetooth enabled device such as ESP32 to have 4 of them in apartment to cover my apartment. I don't care. I can get all the devices, all the sensors, all the switches that are non-Bluetooth, and I decided to go with that route. Somebody has decided to go with Z-Wave, and I respect that. I don't have the availability of Z-Wave devices in Europe is less than it is in the States, so it would be really stupid for me to go for the Z-Wave devices when most of the devices I can buy locally here are Zigbee devices. If I would build network, I would use 2 protocols. But that's my opinion. You can go with Bluetooth, you can go with infrared. I have a couple of infrared, how it's called, RM or Pro or whatever, those hubs. I had them 3 years ago. I decided I will never do video on them. Never. A lot of people have done, and they did great videos, but I myself decided that I do not. Why? Okay. So imagine you have a living room and your TV is on the wall. Okay? And you have a DVD player, which those DVD players required infrared, most of them. They didn't use Bluetooth or any other type of the remote. So you have under TV DVD player, Blu-ray player. And you want to control it with the remote. Remote is in your hand, it's battery operated device, you can just point it and turn the TV on or turn the Bluetooth, Blu-ray or DVD player on. All those hubs, such as Logitech ones or the, how it's called, RM Pro or whatever, those require power. And in order for me to cover my TV and my devices, I would have to have that device sitting in the middle of the table. Not TV, because TV is up and those Blu-ray devices were inside the cupboard, so you just see the front plate. So in order for the infrared device to talk with the other device, it has to have line of sight, which means I would have to have that device in the middle of the table. And I would then have cable from my table running somewhere to provide power. And I don't think that this is acceptable. Not in my case. I don't want to see cables. I don't want to know how device operates. I want it to work. So that's the reason for why I didn't go for any kind of device that requires infrared operation. If I ever buy air conditioning, and I think that we are in a phase where most probably we will buy air conditioning because it's beginning to be too hot in the summers, I will buy Wi-Fi air condition, and one of the key features I will be looking in the air condition would be to be Wi-Fi. Second would be to have API available for integration Home Assistant, because most of the devices recently I've been buying have to have ability to integrate inside Home Assistant. For the SwitchBot, they were offering me curtains. I said no, I don't do curtains. There are a lot of videos about curtains. I don't care about curtains. But then I've seen the humidifier. I said I like the idea because I was always, when my kids were as a parent of the first child and then young child, you are sometimes too scared about some things that at the end maybe do not matter that much. One of the things was, is the air in the room where the kid is sleeping too dry because of the heating in the winter? And it has been falling at times below 40%, even 30%. So it was pretty dry. So we were buying humidifiers, and I've with my 2 kids, I think that I've changed at least 3 humidifiers, and none of them worked. They did work, but the quality of how they worked wasn't satisfying for me. So when I've seen this one, when I know that I did video about the heating valves, and one of the next videos will be also related to heating dehumidifies air, and especially in these virus times, everybody's talking, the air should have humidity this and this level because it helps with the breathing, it can lower the impact of infections, viruses, whatever. So I said, okay, let's do humidifier. When I got the humidifier, I've seen, okay, it does Bluetooth, it does API. I'll go API. I've been rambling too long for this, yeah? Okay. Let's see how the printer is doing. 99%. "41 seconds. Let's see if I can. It says 100% here. WLD, WLD. Come on, load. Three, two, one. Park. Glitched. Here it's finished. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ouch, ouch. Give me a second. Ouch. Yeah, it's too hot here. Just give me a second. Let's see what camera. This camera, for example. Oh, let's put it like that. Let's look at it like this. These should have more cooling here. So bridging part should have more cooling. Even this bridge is not inside very good. So there is a lot of room for improvement here. But if you compare it for the other color, same tuning. Look, perfect bridge, really perfect bridge. But the bottom side didn't have enough squish here. So let's try to compare them like this. Yeah. You do see these, yeah, I have to play with pressure advance. But it's strange, you know, change the filament. And even this corner, you see the warping here. It is round, while this is perfectly flat. Same printer settings, but this one has better squish, while this was a bit under extruded. Let me shine light inside. Yeah. Well, at least I have something to do. Up. Mouse. Okay, let's go like this. And that's it. We have the one thing that can be also issue is that this ABS has been one thing that maybe the issue is the filament here. This is the ABS that has been sitting open and out for a long time, and I'll try with fresh filament, because if you look at, there is a big difference. This is the same manufacturer. I don't know if you can see the black, this Voron logo here has much more artifacts than this one here. So it can be that the filament is already moist. So I could probably dry it, and I will dry. I'm waiting for the eSun dryer to see if it really helps or not. I wanted to do, it's funny how I was thinking about doing this video, and then somebody who has much more followers and much more even better content than me, I don't have that production capabilities that he has, just released that video, and I wanted to see do real those dehumidifiers or eSun's boxes, you know, where you can keep the filament, feed it from that, but it can also be used just to dry the filament. I wanted to see and test if they really work, if they are worth or not. So yeah, but I don't think that this spool can go there. I made a mistake. When I was printing parts, I was using 1 kilo spoolament, 1 kilo spoolament. 1 kilo spool of filament, and I ran out, and I wanted to buy the same color, and the only way to be sure that you will get exactly the same color, even if it's black, was to buy from same manufacturer. And they ran out of 1 kilo, and I had to buy 2 kilos. So I was left with 1.5 kilos of this ABS. I really do not want to throw it away, but yeah, we will see. So that's it. The printer is done. It's been really fun project. I don't know if I will be doing any project this big anytime soon. Now comes the time to calibrate it, make it print better, make it print faster, and then print. Yeah. If anybody ever wanted to try and build something like that, it's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. I have to cover up the electronics. Electronic part is I think completely done, except I want to add 2 more things. I want to add I really hope that I would have this working by now. But it's not. This is the relay board. This is four relay board with 4 relays, 4 relay board, and this is single relay board. But this one is using a Zigbee module to control it. You can use it both on this module it goes inside the slot for the ESP01, so I wanted to have Zigbee control of the power of the printer, so not the mains. The mains would be, the idea was to have mains running 24/7 and provide power to the Raspberry Pi, and then to be able to use either Raspberry Pi with the clipper or Home Assistant to trigger the Zigbee, and this would turn on the power supply for the MCU, and then you would be able to control it. But it's not working as I want it to work. It should just be plug and play Zigbee module for the Home Assistant, but it's not working, so that's why I didn't record the video about it, and that's why I'm currently not using it. So this will be one of the future upgrades to the printer. I know that I can go with the relay that is hooked up to the Raspberry Pi, but I didn't. I want to go Zigbee way. That I have to fix the camera. I have to fix this thing. I think that maybe, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what's going on. I did try to Google and see if anybody has similar issues. People usually have an issue that they do something and they cannot get the user interface. I just have problem that user interface goes out every whatever period of time, for whatever period of time. It's usually just a couple of seconds, but it can be up to 15 seconds, and then it comes back. So I have to fix that. I think that maybe it's related to the SD card, because I have very bad SD card. The boot up time takes a couple of minutes, which on the Clipper and the Raspberry Pi should be much faster. Even the Octoprint was booting faster than this here. Octoprint on Raspberry 3 was booting faster than Clipper on Raspberry 4, which is nonsense. So yeah, that and that's it. I really do hope that you did have fun this stream. Horst, thanks once again for 20 euros. It will go towards the filaments. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks Johnny, Jeff, thanks Pedro, thank you, and thank you for the inspiration to go the Clipper way. If you want, you can I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. I've never even thought about going in that direction. I was too blind. I was completely blind. Thank you, Horst. Rene, and I will have one. Thank you, Rene. Za pivo. Thanks everybody for joining me for this stream. Next one will definitely not be Voron, and I think that I know that Johnny will be happy that we will not talking about Voron anytime soon. But I hope that from time to time I will have some upgrades or short videos. I will be making a video on making of my Voron. I have a lot of images, documentation, and things like that. So I just want to give my experience, what I would do differently. Not a lot of stuff I would, but yeah. If you decide to go and build Voron, join the Voron Discord. They are really cool guys there. They really do provide a lot of support. I don't think that I asked any question there, but I did spend a couple of weeks, every day for half an hour reading what issues people have, learn how to fix them. So in a case I encounter those same issues, I would be able to fix them. I did go a couple of times there to check the pinned comments, because pinned comments really have great stuff there. So yeah, thanks everybody for the stream. Be safe and have fun. I'll be seeing you next time. Bye bye. I took this as a mouse in my hand. Nope. Bye.
When the downtown lights start to come out at night, we go insane.